Welcome, heroes! Today, we are forging a path to victory. We're going to reframe borderline personality disorder not as some kind of life sentence, but as a challenge that you can understand, you can manage, and you can absolutely overcome. Think of this as your personal training manual. All right, here's our mission briefing for today. First, we'll unmask the challenge itself. Then we'll find a mentor to help unlock some powerful treatments. From there, we build our arsenal of core skills, learn how to use them out in the field, and finally, we set our sights on a brand new dawn. First things first, every hero's got to know their adversary, right? So it's time to pull back the mask on the complex challenge that is borderline personality disorder. Knowledge is always our first line of defense. So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, at its core, BPD is a pattern of instability. It creates these really intense emotional ups and downs that can totally affect how you see yourself, how you see other people, and, well, how you interact with the whole world around you. And get this is not some rare foe we're dealing with. It's estimated that over 4 million people in the US alone are diagnosed with BPD. And honestly, that number might be even higher just because it so often gets misdiagnosed as other things. The main point is, you are not fighting this battle alone. Okay, this is a big one. One of the central struggles is this frantic, all-consuming effort to avoid being abandoned, whether that threat is real or just something you perceive. And that fear, man, it can put an immense strain on even the strongest relationships. And that fear we just talked about, well, it often leads to a pattern of really intense and stormy relationships. It can create this difficult cycle that swings between two extremes. On one hand, idealization, where you see someone as absolutely perfect. And on the other, devaluation, where they suddenly seem completely worthless. Bam! This one hits hard. We're talking about impulsivity. And this isn't just some minor quirk, okay? It can show up in some pretty damaging ways, like reckless spending, substance abuse, or other risky behaviors that, just provide a temporary escape from the pain. The emotional roller coaster. This is what happens because of something clinicians call affective instability. It basically describes these intense, super rapid mood swings that can last for hours or even a few days, making emotional stability feel like it's constantly just out of reach. But here's the thing, no hero fights alone, not the successful ones anyway. So in this next section, we're going to find a mentor for our journey and unlock some powerful treatments that can really turn the tide. Our single most effective training ground is something called Dialectical Behavior Therapy, or DBT for short. And what's amazing is that it was designed specifically by Dr. Marsha Linehan to combat the core symptoms of BPD by teaching you practical, real-world skills. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because the philosophy at the heart of DBT is so powerful. That word, dialectical, what does it even mean? Well, it means finding a way to bring two opposites together. In this case, it's all about balancing this radical acceptance of who you are and where you are right now with the drive and the actual skills to create positive change. It's not one or the other, it's both. All right, it is time to gear up. We're about to build your personal arsenal, starting with the foundational superpowers that are taught in DBT. These are the core skills that are going to become your absolute greatest assets in this fight. The whole DBT training program is built around these 4 powerful modules. You can think of them like different branches of your skill tree, right? You've got mindfulness, distress tolerance, emotion regulation, and interpersonal effectiveness. Let's break them down. First up is your new supersensory awareness, mindfulness. This is the power to just anchor yourself right here in the present moment. So instead of getting swept away by worries about the past or anxieties about the future, you learn to simply observe, describe, and participate in the now without judging it. Next, let's equip your defensive shields, distress tolerance. These are your go-to skills for surviving a crisis moment. When emotions feel totally overwhelming, these techniques help you get through it without making things worse. This includes stuff like self-soothing and also radical acceptance, which is just the practice of acknowledging reality for what it is without fighting it. Okay, so our foundational powers are in place. Now let's add some advanced tactical gear. While mindfulness and distress tolerance help us anchor and defend, these next skills, they allow us to go on the offensive, to actively shape our emotional and our social world. This is all about emotional mastery. And look, Emotion regulation isn't about suppressing or ignoring your feelings. It's about understanding them. By learning how to accurately identify what you're feeling and why, you actually gain the ability to influence your emotions instead of just being controlled by them. A crucial tactic here is something called opposite action. And what is so incredibly powerful about this is that it works on a neurological level. When an emotion pushes you toward what we're calling a villainous impulse, like hiding away when you're depressed, you choose the heroic action. You do the exact opposite. And when you do that, you're not just fighting the feeling, you're actively rewiring your brain. You're weakening that old destructive pathway and forging a new, healthier one. This is how you really break the cycle. And finally, we have alliance building, because strong alliances are absolutely crucial for any hero. Interpersonal effectiveness skills teach you how to strengthen your relationships by communicating clearly. You learn that delicate art of asking for what you need, saying no to protect your own energy, and navigating conflict, all while keeping your self-respect and making your connections with others stronger. Okay, with your arsenal fully equipped, it's time to take these skills out into the field. Now we're going to focus on managing triggers. You know, those surprise attacks from the villain that can catch you completely off guard. Here we have a tactical 5-step takedown plan, inspired by the incredible work of Dr. Daniel Fox. This is all about turning a reactive moment into a strategic response. You identify your triggers, you understand where they come from, you build specific coping skills, you communicate your needs, and you create a plan so you are never caught unprepared again. And this is the whole point. This is the crucial takeaway. When you finally understand what triggers you and why, you gain insight. And that insight is what gives you power. It gives you that little bit of space you need to choose your response rather than being forced into an automatic and often really painful reaction. So, you've faced the challenge, you've understood the enemy, and you have built your arsenal. Now we look toward the ongoing mission, a new dawn and a more stable, more fulfilling life. This right here, this is the hero's code. These are the principles that will guide your mission for the long term. You got to stay active in your treatment, lean on your support system, prioritize your physical health, and always have a safety plan ready to go. This isn't about one single victory. It's about a lifelong journey of empowerment. You have the intel. You have the training. You have the tactical gear. Your arsenal is ready. The path forward is no longer dictated by the challenge. It's dictated by your choices. The journey ahead is yours to shape. Now go, forge your victory.